boyfriend has been cheating on me throughout our entire relationship, and I haven't left. Hi everyone. It's basically as the title is written. My boyfriend and I have been together for just over a year. We are both in our early 20s. He is my first relationship, but I am not his. I figured out quite early on that he had a corn addiction but decided to go ahead with speaking to him, as we got along really well. I had been on quite a few dates with other people and had less serious things with others, but he seemed to be different. It was a few months after I clocked his corn addiction that he admitted to me on a long drive home that he had been speaking to other people online, sharing nudes of himself on various subreddits, etc. He assured me that it was all guys because women don't use Reddit for that kind of thing online. As I mentioned, obviously this was a red flag, but almost a year later and I now realize that I'm probably an overly loyal person. I was swept up in the excitement of a new relationship, and with the assurance from him that he was working on it, ashamed of it, etc., I felt that I could continue the relationship on the condition that he would be 100% honest with me from then on, and that we would work on it together. It was from that point though, when I feel like my self-image started declining. I felt like I wasn't good enough for him, but I couldn't understand it, as it wasn't as though I deprived him of anything. Without going into too much detail, I was always enthusiastic to initiate and try new things with him. I couldn't understand what was wrong with me. I managed to wipe it from my brain for the most part, but between you and I started looking at myself differently and valuing myself less. I started not being able to stand looking at myself in mirrors or in photographs. I felt like I had lost all of my confidence very quickly. Whenever I would bring it up, he would refuse to talk about it, saying that it made him uncomfortable or that he was trying to be better. In the end, I couldn't get the thought that he was still doing it out of my head and I ended up checking his phone. I am really ashamed of this, as I felt I was violating his privacy. I am quite technologically clued up and managed to figure out that he had been using Tinder, even though the app wasn't installed. I installed the app, and his data was still saved to the cloud. I logged in and found that he had a profile which included pictures I had taken of him on the app. He had also been paying for Tinder Premium, which added salt to the wound, really. I can't even explain how I felt at that moment. I was swallowing back tears, and I felt like I was going to be sick. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I confronted him about it the morning after, and he was entirely dismissive, telling me that nothing had come of it and that it was a silly mistake. He also acted defensive, calling me out for checking his phone while he slept. For whatever reason, I still continued with the relationship. You'll see that this quickly became a theme for me. Every time I do it, I feel so awful about myself, but for some reason or another, I just can't bring myself to leave. Since then, I've done a lot of things that I regret. I have watched porn with him. I made it clear at the beginning of the relationship that I did not agree with doing that for a multitude of reasons. I have helped him to create another Tinder account to interact with women as I felt like if I did it with him then he wouldn't do it behind my back. After doing all this though, I just feel broken and like an idiot. On the one hand, I can't understand why I would disrespect myself to that extent, and on the other hand I still can't bring myself to leave. The last time it happened, I told him that if I found him to be cheating on me again, I would leave him immediately and not look back. I do mean it, but I also have a feeling that it is happening again but don't want to know about it so I can stay delusional that something is going to change. We're at a point now that when I come over, he sleeps with his phone under his pillow and is really defensive over it. I text him and it sometimes takes him hours to respond, even though I can see he is active on other social media. I try expressing that I feel rejected by him and he says he doesn't understand what I'm talking about or just completely shuts down and refuses to speak when I try to have a conversation about how I'm feeling. I ask him to call me in the evening and when he does, he just falls asleep on the phone straight away and doesn't speak to me because he's tired. I feel hopeless. I know that for anyone reading this, you'll say that there's no saving this relationship. I agree, but I just can't bring myself to leave. When I think about it I feel like I'm going to puke. So, until I can bring myself to leave I'm essentially living with the idea that I'm disrespecting myself by being with him and waiting for the courage to come for me to call it quits. I am beyond embarrassed that I've let it get to this point.